Okay, this is a pretty important moment because after following the main road for over 100 kilometers, which is over there now, I will be taking a much smaller route, going down there and then to the left. And I don't know how roads look like there because this is where Google Street View pictures end, and you cannot really tell from the satellite pictures. But it seems like a pretty isolated area. Maybe not at the beginning. At the beginning, like until the town of Boberka, I think there is a pretty decent road. But then it kind of ends and you can continue through the forest, but at the same time it's a pretty mountainous area. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But that's actually something that I enjoy so much during my bike trips. You know, to have a little challenge or a bigger one that I can overcome, and also to see some authentic areas out of a beaten path, to see how, you know, how the real life looks like there. So, let's go! As you can see, the first kilometers were a real blast to cycle, but that was about to change, for good. So what did I say? A pretty decent road until Boberka? I really don't think so. Oh. Yeah. Pretty dusty. It seems like the video doesn't really capture how tough this ride was. All the holes and rocks wouldn't have been such a problem if the route weren't so hilly. Some stretches were so steep that I spent most of the time either pushing my bike or riding with my brakes on. Those 15 kilometers to Boberka felt like forever. Woo! Alleluia, Boberka! The locals looked a bit surprised to see me, but they were friendly and chatty. A wy тут живете? Как се звати?
Яблінка.
А, Яблінка? О. Дякую.
До Баберки, він їздив до Баберки, з Баберки ще вертається туди.
Ага. Ой, тяжеловато. There were still about 2 or 3 hours until sunset, so I wanted to keep going as far as I could this evening. And then something unexpected happened. A nice lady named Hania started talking to me while I was once again pushing my bike uphill. Soon she invited me to stay at her place for the night. After only 2 minutes of conversation, I think. Oh!
Вона стала на краєчок, прикрила.
Скільки куриць?
Ну так, то є 10, 18 і 4 маленькі.
Since it was still pretty early, I hesitated for a moment whether to keep going or not. But in the end, I chose to stay. What a great decision! This evening turned out to be the real highlight of my entire trip. Just look at this luxurious room. Funny to think I was actually planning to spend the night in some random wood bushes. Hania was extremely kind to me, and her son Nikita, a bit perplexed at the beginning, proved to be a very friendly and generous host as well. And their dog Mushka was absolutely adorable.
Dziki skuty. Ty mały pieskuty. Tak, Miluczku.
Of course, it didn't take long before I found myself at a table covered with tasty food and a little bit of homemade samogan. The evening entertainment program even included a nighttime ride to the local church and all the way to the border, since the village of Boberka is only about 3 kilometers from Poland.
Річка саме отут, от де точка ми, як називається річка Сян.
Такого великого?
And how could I not mention our shopping trip? For that, we went to a little local shop. So local, in fact, that it didn't even have a sign. You just have to know where it is. We showed up at around 10 p.m. and through the living room we stepped right into the part of the house that serves as the grocery shop. Good morning, everyone. Here we are on another beautiful summer day of my tour. One of the first things I did was to go to the barn to say hello to my dear bicycle. Hania and Nikita were trying to convince me to stay a couple of days longer, and honestly, if I wasn't so short on time, I definitely would have. I felt truly welcome with these kind, humble, warm-hearted people. Clouds were slowly gathering, and it looked like rain could start any minute. The perfect moment to get invited in for some tea.
Стерильно.
Super. Nie, kawa nie.
То чай.
А, то чай jest?
Так, собі скільки бажає. Так.
Czarny?
Так. Чорний. То є звичайний чай, звичайнісінький.
Dobra. A wy skitkę?
Ми?
Aha.
Дрогобич. Старий.
O, byłam w Truskawcu.
Wow.
I piłam tą wodę w
Вот.
Truskawcu.
Молодець. То 2 кілометри Дрогобич від Трускавця.
O,
2 км. То між іншим є жіночий монастир. Отак.
tam?
То церква, то жіночий монастир. Ні,
100 років тому.
Ну, 100, не 100.
100, ну як, 20-й рік.
Так.
Ну, збудовано в 20-му році.
No to,
Cerkwa.
No to 100.
Ну, то 100 років.
О, от тому мені такого брата не треба.
There are so many beautiful Orthodox churches here in Zakarpatia. Like every little village has at least one. And as you can see, most of them are just stunning. I love how those golden domes are reflecting the sun. It looks so beautiful. I'm taking so many breaks now. Oh my god, I didn't know it was possible, but I missed the turn. I really thought it was only one road, so I don't even have to look on the map. I mean, direction is not bad because I am super close to Poland, like 5 kilometers maybe, but there is no border crossing. The road simply ends at some point, so not the best idea to go there. I need to go back now. That road is going to be tough. Ooh, I confirm it's rather tough, but the landscape, breathtaking. Even though the route was a bit demanding and got muddy after the recent rain, this section was my favorite part of the whole day. It felt amazing to disappear into the wild Carpathian landscape, passing only the occasional house and running into a few friendly locals along the way. This is the best road so far, I think. Oh, such a joy to cycle. But it's not going to last forever, that's for sure. Whoa, okay. Look at that road. Whoa, perfect timing, because it just started raining. It means time for a little break. As I mentioned at the beginning, I had no idea what this route would be like. A dashed line on an offline map could be anything. A fairly smooth road or a barely existing trail. Turning back though is something I really don't like on bike trips, especially if it means returning to the main road. That's why I felt determined to get over the hill to the next village. As long as I could push my bike, I kept a positive mindset. Oh, okay. I need to admit, sometimes I am less happy with my original ideas when it comes to planning a route. Because this route, like this path marked on maps me, like really barely exists. And I'm starting asking myself if this is not that super dangerous plan that there was a very big deal of some, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. Okay, that is really too much, even for such a yellow person as myself. So, yeah, I give up. I went very far, but I give up because I cannot imagine 4 kilometers like this. What the fuck? I will take the very same route. At least it's going to be down the hill. Huh, that might be a good potential place to spend the night. Let's take a look. Wow, it's really surprisingly empty here. Okay, I am almost sure that I'm going to stay here for the night. As you can see, there is really a lot of room and it's surprisingly clean for such a place. I wonder what's the purpose of that normally, or maybe there's no purpose. It's 7:30, so I could easily keep going for at least an hour, but I'm just so tired. I need to chill. And I imagine I could be easily invited again by some friendly, nice people, but I also feel a bit socially tired and a bit overwhelmed, so I think I will take a break this time. I also have plenty of food. Just need to organize some water, but that's not going to be a problem. Okay, now I also have enough water. And of course I got invited. Oh my god. People here are so nice, it's incredible. And they are also so trusting because I just asked for water and after a minute of conversation, that cute grandpa invited me. But I really had to refuse because I could feel that he would talk and talk and talk to me. And there was also his wife, who I was supposed to share the room with. And no, I'm very sorry, but this is exactly what I not want today. So I'm very happy with my caravan. And oh my god, look at this. Wow. What a beautiful evening walk. Right, we are in Ukraine. Of course there is a well just next to the church. So I didn't have to go back to the village at the end. Oh, I just hope that the grandpa wouldn't be too upset that I refused his invitation. There is actually another candidate to spend the night in. Let's see if it's open. That's so funny. I'm in the middle of nowhere and now I have actually 3 options where to stay. So in the kitchen with the grandma, in the caravan, or here it's also pretty cozy and less dusty and maybe even calmer because we are farther from the street. Wow, which option would you take? So I decided to stay in the chapel at the end. Time to check in. After spending the night in the mountain chapel, cycling on that beautiful morning felt even more special. Like coming back into civilization from some distant, mystical world.
Може булочки вам дати? Маєте що їсти?
Mam. Дякую. O. Дуже дякую.
Щасливо!
When I reached the main road, it was clear that my trip was slowly coming to an end. Only about 40 kilometers left to the Polish border. And to be honest, part of me was happy about that. Even though it had been a beautiful, enriching and really interesting journey, I was just tired, both physically and mentally. I even hitched a ride for a few kilometers and it felt so good. Yay! I'm going to Dobromil with those super nice guys. Duże dziękuję. And from there it's about z kilka kilometrów z Dobromil granica?
15.
Only 15. Whew. Kilometers left to the border. Ukrainians are so nice and helpful. I still had one more hitchhiking ride ahead of me. This time I had no choice. Most of the border crossings with Ukraine are only for cars, so you can't cross as a pedestrian or a cyclist. From my experience so far, I was sure I'd be able to find the ride to the Polish side without any problems. But the closer I got to the border, the less traffic there was. Until it was almost completely empty. Phew, so that might take a while until I hitch the next ride. I would love to just cycle through the border, but apparently it's not possible. Or maybe should I ask? I'll just wait. Yay! I got the ride. It wasn't that difficult at the end, but it seems it's gonna take a while at the border crossing. Yeah. So yeah, it really seems that my journey ends here. If I was to summarize it, I don't even know where to start. That was such a short but such an intense trip. Only 4 days at the end, or 5. And I was positively surprised how people were trusting towards me, because they were inviting me home and were very helpful, very friendly, very open. So I really appreciate it. And the nature in the mountains was just incredible. So I really hope that it was not my last time in Ukraine. Let's see when the next one is going to be. And of course, I really hope that when I come next time, the war would be over. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Bye bye. Yay! 10 meters per hour. O, bardzo dziękuję.
Usługi transportowe, polecamy się.